What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Autoblog Livestream, first stream of the year 2022, which seems insane. My name's Eric, and I am joined today by Autoblog's own Joel Stocksdale. What is up, Joel?
Oh, I'm not supposed to be here. I should go. Bye, everybody.
Whoops.
No, I'm supposed to be here. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
That
so
sounded convincing, didn't it?
yeah, oh yeah, I'm super glad to be here. Yeah, so I heard through the grapevine, being you, that you acquired this game over break.
Yes.
First of all, I just want to make sure you still do you have Xbox Live or you don't have Xbox Live?
No, I don't.
Okay. Unfortunately, we will not be able to play together. But what are your thoughts on the game so far?
Well, I actually had a Twitter thread on this.
Okay.
A few weeks back. Let's see if I can dig it up to kind of refresh my memory.
Yeah.
Generally, though, I've got quite mixed feelings about it.
Okay.
Now, so like on the positive side, like I'm just playing on Xbox One S.
Oh wow, yeah.
But it's still a really pretty game.
That's good to know. That's really good to know.
For the most part, it runs well. I did notice that it starts to chug just a little bit when I'm driving through town centers.
Ah, okay.
But for the most part, it runs pretty decently. And like, I know a lot of people have complained about loading times on Xbox One, but they haven't seemed too bad. I mean, they're not. I wouldn't necessarily call them good, but
sure. I'm sure they're not GTA 5 levels.
Oh no.
That would be insane.
And like the car list is still good, and like they added some fun new ones. But like, I feel like they're not going far enough with the game. It feels to me kind of like an expansion pack of Horizon 4.
Okay.
Like it feels a lot like it just kind of drives and plays and is kind of the same stuff that we had got in Horizon 4.
Back, Count Driftular.
Yeah.
And like, and again, this is something that I feel slightly hypocritical about when I say this, because like, there are game series that I would be happy if every single time that they released it, it was just kind of like a slightly nicer version of the game that came before it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of what this is. But I just feel like they should be expanding in more areas other than just, here's a new environment, go do the same stuff that you've always done.
Yeah,
200 yards.
I don't necessarily disagree with any of that. I would also thank you for the follow, JR, and hello in the chat. What's up? Hope you're doing well. JR or Junior? What do you prefer? Let me know in the chat. I'll try to remember.
JR Jr.
True.
JR.
Yeah, isn't there like a Junior? I think there's this band called Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think that's like a real band. Says you pick. Okay. But anyways, yeah. What's that, Joel?
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah. No, I like that. I'm gonna go with JR. I like J. For some reason, I like how JR feels. But yeah, I definitely don't disagree with your assessment, I would say this is definitely, when it comes to this versus Horizon 4, this is just like, I would say it's more the same, but slightly more polished. It almost reminds me, in a way, almost like and I'm definitely not, I didn't originate this comparison, but I agree with it to an extent. But it kind of reminds me almost like a Mario Kart 8 or a Super Smash Bros. Whatever the newest one is, where it's just kind of like, it's like everything that came before it, the best way it can be. It's not necessarily doing anything different or anything crazy, but it's just kind of gathering the best pieces of the series and kind of presenting them in the best way they currently can. However, which I think is true for this game. I haven't played every Forza game, but from the ones I played, that seems true. But I also agree that game definitely doesn't do anything like my mind hasn't been blown or anything like that. I really enjoy it. I think it's very fun, but I think some of the Game of the Year noms and awards, I don't necessarily agree with those. That seems a little crazy to me. But yeah, I think I think I'm picking up what you're putting down there, though. I definitely don't disagree.
Well, like, one of the big things that I really am frustrated has not been expanded more is the visual upgrades for cars. There are there's a lot of like vehicles that would be generally pretty popular that either have the absolute bare minimum visual upgrades you can give them, or like none at all. And some of them have been around for a while, and it's like, you really couldn't have like added in a little bit more here.
Yeah.
Well,
because you've also got your eye on the new Gran Turismo as well, which seems like it's definitely gonna be that.
Well, Gran Turismo has never really been amazing with like visual upgrades, but also the series has been kind of a little all over the place the last few years. So kind of returning to form will be a big improvement, I think.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, like that's one of the big things. I know that a couple of Twitter friends of mine pointed out that a lot of the car models in Forza Horizon 5 haven't been upgraded since like the first Forza game on Xbox One. And I did notice that. I picked up the second gen Mitsubishi Eclipse in the game, and I was like, oh wow, this kind of looks like the way it looked in Forza Motorsport 4 on 360.
Wow. So what do you think they're... Because, I mean, it's obvious they're doing something. Do you think they're just kind of being clever with, like, shaders and lighting, and they're not actually, like, changing the model? Like, how are they getting away with that, I guess?
Well, because I'm guessing that they probably upgraded a number of, like, maybe gave an update to a lot of the models, like, for the Xbox One games. But then, because it's not, like, a super new car...
Right,
they just
called
keep
it
carrying
good.
it over and over.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Which I'm not completely opposed to, but at a certain point, like, at the point where you can kind of start to tell that one car was made much later than the others, that's when maybe you should maybe go back and do some sprucing up of the old ones.
Yeah. Well, actually, let me see. Which car? Because I have not noticed that. And I was gonna say I wonder if that is like an Xbox One thing versus a newer generation thing. But I'd be curious. What model specifically? I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna see if I can do a live comparo here. But also, before we do that, I want to say hello to Chelsea Football Club in the chat. Welcome back. I hope you had a good break and New Year and everything. And JR says, "Can I ask you a question?" Of course, you can ask a question. Let us know. And And if we have an answer, we will try to answer it. But yeah, do you happen to know an actual model?
It's the Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX.
Let's back out of here.
And like, it doesn't look bad, but it also doesn't look quite as.
Yeah, just
something about it looks more kind of like an older CGI model than.
Yeah, it's like not as detailed. Okay, so this is just the Supra, a Supra. Around here. I gotta fast travel to the festival. That's fine. Oh, and I didn't even answer Chelsea Football Club's question. Yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about right now. Is I think we're both liking it. We're just and in fact, I would say I'm even liking it a lot. But we're just talking about like ways that we kind of wish it would have just pushed the boundary a little more. All right, so let me. Okay, we are looking for a Mitsubishi. Oh no. Search. Oh.
Well, it's all alphabetical order.
Yes, I was in the wrong thing. Thank you for the follow, Ali Manriquez. I hope that's close. Nice, that was close. Okay, so my fault. I'm getting distracted. Mitsubishi, and we are looking for. You said the Eclipse GSX.
Yep, it's one more. There it is.
Okay. I see. Yeah, that is weird. I don't know. Dang it! I didn't mean to back out.
I think on that car, it's especially noticeable in the fog lights and the tail lights that it just doesn't quite look right.
Yeah, it just looks. Just give me any loot. Sure.
Well, if you just go to Y, you'll just get regular colors.
I think I already. Nice. Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess I will say this though. And again, anybody who's watched the stream knows I don't have the best eye for graphic fidelity. so
This is the man that doesn't notice frame rate.
Yeah. But like I would never have noticed this looked different to any other car if you hadn't said anything. However, I'm actually seeing it a little bit in like the wheels. Look a little like flat, I guess.
Yeah, well, and like the lights look kind of like cloudy.
Yeah. Although this is a car from the 90s, so maybe maybe they're pulling it off like, hey, it's realism.
And I totally get that. But it's not cloudy in the right way. And as somebody that has seen these cars, it's like something's just not quite right.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Well, and also with like visual customization, I get so annoyed when I go to customize a car and it shows that it has like front and rear upgrades, but it's just the like super lazy like bolt-on rear spoiler and like bolt-on splitter on the front. It's like, okay, so you went to that trouble, but you couldn't be bothered to like try and come up with something a little bit more unique for this car.
Yeah, it's like, where's the cutoff? Like, if you're gonna go so crazy into customization, then go as crazy as humanly possible.
I mean, like, yeah, custom liveries are nice, but like, I mean, there's only so much you can do with that.
Yeah. Yeah, take me back to Need for Speed Underground 2 days where I can put any color in the spectrum as underglow and just like the wildest.
Yeah.
I want the tackiest, wildest, fast and furious garbage in the world. That's what I want.
And that's one of those things that has been so good about the last few Need for Speed games is that they have like nailed visual customization.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I also kind of feel like the game is
Turn left.
too easy.
Well, I mean, that makes sense coming from you.
Left.
You're great at this game.
No, it's not
I would
just
never
that.
call this
It's
game
like-
too easy.
Well, let me explain a little bit.
Okay.
Like, right off the bat, the first 3 cars that you get in your garage are really good cars.
Yeah, they are. They are. They're all really
It's like-
insane.
Like, you get a new Corvette, a new Supra, and a new Bronco, like right out of the gate.
Hello, Elise. I
And
didn't mean
it's-
to leave you hanging there. What's up? Welcome. Sorry, Joel. Continue.
And this is oh no, you're fine. And this is one of those things that it bothers me on 2 fronts. On one, it's like, okay, well, you could actually probably just about complete the game with those 3 cars and never get another one.
400 yards. Turn
And
left.
it plays into an issue that I've had with the Horizon series for a while now, and actually even the Motorsport series for a little bit, is that there's not really any incentive or reason to play with slower cars in the game, unless you just happen to like slower cars.
Oh, so I couldn't disagree with you more on that one. Because for people like me,
400 yards.
I just simply cannot control. I can't drive the faster cars. Like I really can't. Every time I try, it goes so poorly.
Well-
If you mean like slow cars, then
Well,
totally.
that's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
I
okay.
mean, the stuff like the Renault 4 that you get from a barn find.
Yep.
and,
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
like legit slow stuff. Because
Oh, Shadowlight,
One of the
what's up,
things-
Shadowlight? Welcome.
one of the things that I had so much fun with like the Gran Turismo series and even like early Forza Motorsport games, and actually even like the Need for Speed games, is that like because you kind of have to work your way up from like slow cars,
Arrived at your
you
destination.
do develop a certain appreciation for those slow cars,
Mm-hmm.
especially like as you make it your own and as you upgrade it and stuff. And it's like I like that about it because it's like it's easy to get distracted and fixated on supercars and things and miss out on an entire world of like other really interesting, unique, and fun cars that are fun in ways that aren't just it goes real fast.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Um,
that's fair.
And it's also kind of weird that like in this game you can basically complete every single event with like literally any car you want, and thus you could play basically the entire game with one car.
Yeah. Like, just say for instance, randomly pulling one out here, a Mitsubishi Lancer, which I've used for almost every single race in this game.
And don't get me wrong, it's fun to like if you really have like a really favorite car that you just want to use all the time. That's kind of nice, but again, I feel like
Yeah, I mean, it defeats the purpose of if that's how the developers wanted people to play the game, then why add 800 cars?
exactly. And it means that it also makes all of the events super samey.
That's
Because
true.
You're just
I agree with
you're
that.
just driving the same car against the same opponents over and over and over and over again. Like you're not getting any kind of different type of challenge.
Yeah,
Now-
I do agree with that.
Now, some of the story missions kind of help alleviate that, but like, that's still a relatively small percentage of the game.
Yeah, I think the more... Wow, that was almost disastrous. The more we are talking about this, the more I'm thinking that this isn't even so much a problem with Forza Horizon specifically, but more just modern racing games in general.
Possibly.
Yeah, because I was about to ask, like, what would be like a game that alleviates some of these issues, and the closest one I can think of is a game like one of the old Need for Speed games. The newer Need for I think I'm a little softer on the newer Need for Speed games than a lot of people. I think they're okay. A lot of people like them more than I did, but even then, I don't think they do a lot of the same things that I loved so much about the racing games like of my teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems insane because those developers had so much less to work with. I wonder if maybe nowadays it's like devs are like paralyzed by choice. It's like there are like thousands of cars they feel like they have to get in these games, which is unnecessary, I feel, as a player. Like, just pick 200 is plenty. Pokemon only had 150. Like, relax. I don't get it. There's no need for this sheer number. I get it's cool to, like, it's like an easy, box quote, but it's unnecessary, and it may be taking away from some more interesting developments that could be added to these games.
Well, so one of the other things that I'll mention is that, like, there are some racing games that you can get away with kind of using mostly the same car the whole time, but one of the key differences was that you were continually upgrading and unlocking new upgrades and, like, earning more money that you can afford more expensive upgrades. And the thing is, in Forza Horizon, you're getting money all the time.
Yeah.
Nothing is expensive. It kind of destroys its own economy.
And especially, I mean, quadruple that sentiment if you have the deluxe version. Mm-hmm. Money's meaningless in this game, literally.
And so it's one of those things where, like, you can buy one car, you can max out all of the upgrades immediately, and you're basically done.
Yeah.
And that's kind of frustrating, because it's like, well, I guess to as kind of an exaggerated metaphor, it would be like if you fired up Dark Souls and you could press one button and immediately like win.
That is indeed an exaggerated metaphor, but I see what you're saying.
Like, well, what was the point of even doing all this?
Yeah.
There's no hero's journey when you're just automatically the hero.
Yeah, true.
Which is basically the story of the game, because you roll right in and like it kicks off as like.
Yeah, that's true. You're already like famous.
Yeah, you're the guy that like was Mr. Hotshot in the UK Horizon Festival. And this is one of my other complaints, that it's like the game doesn't stop talking about how awesome you are.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
And it's not like there's even. Okay, there's a few things that this bothers me. Like, for one thing, it gets a little annoying. It's like, oh my gosh, I just stop. I don't need you to tell me every 5 minutes that, oh, you're so great and you're so amazing, and like, oh, you just make the festival the everything.
Yeah, thank goodness you're here.
Yeah. And
this entire event would be a failure.
Yeah. And again, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't even like give you a rival to compete against or anything.
Yeah, that's very true.
Even Pokemon gives you like a dude that like kind of hounds you throughout. It's like you're not that great. I don't like you. It's like,
Yeah, so I think what I'm gathering here is our advice for the next Forza game is just make it more like Pokemon.
a little bit.
Really, a lot of great lessons to learn from the original Pokemon.
Because even like in Pokemon, like you might have a couple of favorite critters, but like you keep working to like level them up and make them better. And
Yeah.
have harder challenges.
And there are like logical way, like if you know you're up against a certain kind of Pokemon or vehicle, it's like, yeah, I think one of the things, I think it would be more interesting if the rest of the pack wasn't delegated by what the car you've chosen.
Yeah. I
That,
totally agree.
Yeah, that one does seem weird, and I understand the thought process behind it, but I don't think it works as well in practice as it does in theory.
Because, like, I think just a performance level cap would be better than like what class of car, because it can be fun to try and take a car that is extremely different and possibly a lot worse, and modifying it and seeing if you can beat the like more well-rounded cars.
Yeah.
But you never really get that opportunity when you keep being put up against the same type of cars.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing is that narratively, it's a very strange and slightly disconcerting conflict of interest to me that like you're like setting up and running this festival, but also like competing in it and like beating up on everybody that enters, and it just kind of feels like it's like, am I the jerk? I think I might be.
Oh god. Yeah, that's like if oh my god, his name's escaping me. The GOAT F1 driver. What is his name?
Oh, Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, it's like if Lewis Hamilton like ran F1.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And then was like taking all the rewards and all the money and like all of the glory.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of gross.
Yeah, that is very weird. That is very, very weird. Also, I am so ridiculously out of practice. I did not play this game once over break, and I am so out of practice and doing so bad. But that's alright. I kind of did this first as like just a long warm up. Just gotta ease into the feel. But man, oh man. Did you? Well, I guess. Do you have? Yeah. Please keep going.
And something else that kind of bugs me about this game, and this is another thing that I've had issues with other Horizon games, is that there's not a lot of incentive to actually drive on the roads.
Yeah, true. At least in
like,
between races, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, why wouldn't you just go as the crow flies everywhere? Because even in like the almost worst off-road equipped car, it will be faster than actually following the roads.
Yeah, the majority of the time, that is true.
And like, I did a story event that I know was supposed to be like a couple minutes long. I think it was like one of the like tour story events, and like they gave me an off-road buggy, and there weren't checkpoints, and I ended up completing it in like 40 seconds because I just went straight to the end.
I believe I remember which one you're talking about. Yeah. that felt weird too.
I finished it and I was like, I think that was supposed to be longer, because it was one of those that I think it was like the tour where he's like supposed to tell you about things that you drive past, but it was like, but I get 3 stars if I beat the time limit.
Right.
So I'm gonna try and finish this as fast as possible. The fastest way to do it is to go straight to the finish.
Yep.
Like, why would I bother? I guess that's one of my problems with this game is that I feel like there are a lot of game design decisions that actually work against what the developers want you to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost feel like... Well... I don't know. I already disagree with the point I was about to make. I was gonna say maybe it just depends on the kind of gamer you are, because I know there are a lot of gamers who like want like full sandbox, no rules. I want to be able to play this game however I want to. I don't care what the developers want. I don't care what the actual
they're GTA 5
gamifications.
players.
Yeah, touche. But even that, I'm not convinced about that, because it's like Breath of the Wild was praised so heavily because it was exactly that. The game just starts and and you just go and you just figure it out. And that, in my opinion, and many people's opinion, is one of, if not the greatest game of all time. So I wonder if, well, I guess my point is that game proves that you can walk the line and be successful. Of like, you don't have to, like, you can make a game a true sandbox, like true whatever you want, but it can also still be a game. Whereas like I definitely, and you're convincing me more the longer we talk about this, that it's like this is much more of a sandbox than a game, I would say, which is not necessarily bad. You just gotta know that and want that.
Yeah. And and I think you're onto something, and like I've kind of taken that idea to heart, and so I just am making myself play with cars that I want to try out, because why not?
Yeah, for sure. Why not?
Well, and actually, so I guess this is one of the other things. That's actually something that I end up doing in Gran Turismo a whole lot, even though there's, like, I've completed a lot of, like, what I'm going to complete in the game. I still pick it up and play sometimes because I'm like, I just want to play with some cars.
Yeah.
But one of the things is that with Gran Turismo, because it's a sim racer, and because it's a pretty good one, all the different cars drive really very differently, and so the driving experience itself is like rewarding in and of itself, and trying out the different cars. At least it is to me. In Forza Horizon, it's so very arcadey. There are differences between the cars, but the differences are so much smaller that, and also I don't really. The differences are so much smaller that, like, the feel between different cars isn't all that significant, and so there's less of that reason to try out different cars, because they all end up feeling a little samey. But also, I'm gonna be honest, I actually don't think that the driving feel in this game is that amazing.
Okay. I think
it's not bad. It's not bad. But it's not. It doesn't strike me as super fun.
I think for me, it's car by car. There are some cars in this game where I mean, I just don't use them because I hate them. But I mean, the one I'm driving right now, this Mitsubishi, and the one it's this one, and there's one of the SUVs or crossovers. I don't remember which one it was, but those I think feel really nice, and I enjoy driving those. But yeah, it's definitely not universal by any means, I would say.
Yeah, so...
and there are, yeah, I don't know, it's so, It's so tough. It's like I don't even know if I really understand my own personal preferences that much, because it's like I definitely like arcadey feeling game. Like The Crew 2 is right up my alley. I think that game's very fun to play, and I think it feels good. But then, and that's like all the way arcadey, no amount sim. But then also, I really love the Dirt Rally games and the WRC games, which are like, you'd be hard pressed to call those arcadey in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love those too. And those also feel really good, but in a very different way. So
Yeah.
I think I don't even know what I really want anymore. I know it when I see it, I guess,
Right.
but I know it when I play it. But
And like, and I totally agree, because I like super arcadey games, and I like much more simulation oriented stuff. I think when you try to do kind of something in the middle, like Forza Horizon does, it's a really, really tricky thing.
Yep.
And I think Horizon has done it better than some, because there are some games that have attempted it and have not been very good.
Oh,
I remember
definitely, yeah.
I remember the first Test Drive Unlimited. I really enjoyed that game. It was very neat what it was doing at the time. But the actual driving physics and racing were not very good. The cars all handled kind of badly. They were kind of stiff and not super responsive, and so it made racing actually kind of hard, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a lot of kind of my complaints with this game. Now, on the positive side, like I said, Mexico looks great in this game, and
Yeah,
it's really making me want to visit Mexico again.
Yeah, definitely. I think the world, just the map in general, I really enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and I think it's a big improvement over
Yeah, London.
the UK map.
Or, yeah. Yeah, I guess it's probably not technically London, but yeah, the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Big UK approximation.
And I do like the big car list. Oh wait, okay, I've got one more complaint.
Okay.
There's too many gamified elements in this game. I get so many little notifications and little like notification indicators on menus and things all the time because I've unlocked some XP bonus or a wheel spin,
Yeah.
or a collector card, or like, for heaven's sakes, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Let me just let me for a while. Let me know later.
Yeah, I will say, to be totally fair, and in the inbox
I play video
thing.
games to get away from the world of, like.
Uh-oh. I think my internet's my internet's going spotty
I didn't know
here.
if it was yours or if it was mine.
It's definitely mine. It looks like I mean, I'm back now, but I hope the stream is still going. It
is still going. I can still see it.
It looks frozen.
It got really pixelated and chopped. It's now all the way back. Well, it's mostly back. It's running a little choppy, but it's still there.
Hopefully it'll come back in a second or two. If you guys can hear me, I apologize. I've been having some. I think it's just because it's been so outrageously cold here the last couple of weeks. I've been having some internet issues. Yeah, it is beyond cold. And the house I live in is awful. Like this morning I woke up and obviously I had the furnace going all night, but I woke up and my house was only 61 degrees this morning. It was set to like 71 or 72. And 61 was as warm as it got overnight. Which
yeah, I've been having kind of similar things
Yeah,
in my house.
it is not fun. Not fun. And then all my stuff is like right next to my door wall, which is the main contributor. So I have like towels trying to block any
In 400
drafts
yards.
or anything, but it's I mean, it only goes so far.
Mm-hmm.
But is it? It seems like it's much better now on my end. Hopefully we're back.
Yeah, it looks good on this
Okay,
end.
cool. Is it looking good for you, Shadowlight? I saw you said getting glitchy. Hopefully we're back. Yeah, it's oh my god.
Yeah,
it's
you
been
were
so
saying
cold.
notifications on sandboxes. And...
Oh yeah, you probably can turn those off if you really wanted to. But again, it's like they're so annoying. Why did the devs decide that was the move?
And it's also kind of annoying that like it'll say that you got X and like XYZ reward for like collecting certain cars or something. But then it doesn't just give it to you. You have to go into that menu, you have to go
Yep.
to that reward, you have to click on it, and then it gives it to you. And it's like, why wouldn't you just give it to me?
Yeah, I guess I do see the logic there. I don't mind that one so much because it is kind of like I feel like that's almost like it's like why not double up your dopamine hit, right? Like okay, you got the reward, but then you have to go in and accept the reward.
Yeah. Which
And then
I guess might be okay if it wasn't happening like every 2 minutes.
No, you're right. You're 100% right.
Well, and like even when it asks you to expand festival, there have been so many times that I've like done a story event or something, and it's about to like give like the ending dialogue part, and then it interrupts like, "Hey, so and so, it's time to expand the festival again." It's like, oh my gosh, leave me alone. Do it yourself.
You're right.
What am I paying you people for?
Gotta do everything around here. Oh, Shadowlight says, have they said what accolade points are used for? Some future feature? Yeah, I mean, you got me, Shadowlight. I have no clue.
I forget. Well, and that's the thing. There's just so many like there are these points, and then there's like money points, and then there's like it's I don't even know what they all do.
Yeah, that is. I think I very much support mobile gaming, but I very much blame mobile gaming for this new trend of a million different kinds of currency in every game that exists. It's like, well, how about just use one? Just use one currency. That's fine. Just use dollars. Just use fake dollars. It's
and also,
fine.
and also like some types of like RPGs and stuff where like you press button, numbers go up. Yay.
Yeah.
It's like I stop, please. Okay, so I think that's kind of all. Just spent 45 minutes ragging on Forza Motorsport, or Forza Horizon. But like I said, I have still had some fun with it. There's still a lot of things that I do really like about it. I actually find it very satisfying and almost zen-like to like find all the roads and drive all of them.
Yeah, totally.
I enjoy that very much. And
what's your main cruising around car that you've been using? If you have one.
Let's see. I know that I've been using the Ram Power Wagon a lot.
Okay.
And the Jeep Gladiator. Let's see. I've been playing around with the Renault 4 a little bit. Oh, I've got a VW Beetle Global Rallycross car that
nice.
I've made it look like my own personal Beetle.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
And actually, I was excited to see that the exact type of wheel that I have on my Beetle is in the game, so I was able to put it on there.
No way, that's awesome.
And while I was complaining about the fact that you can use any car in an event, I do also see the positive side of that is that, like, well, if you do have a car that you really like and you want to be able to play with it a whole lot, you can do that.
Yeah, totally.
And in that way, if there is like a slow car that you're really fond of, you can use it for most of the game, which I see the positive of that. But I guess maybe to sum it up, I kind of feel like maybe Horizon there's too much of a good thing in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I totally get that. Maybe a little too much choice, not enough. What's the?
There's no constrictions to kind of make you try things differently, or kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yes. That curation was the word I was looking for. There's not enough curation. What's up, Combat Beast? Welcome. How was your break?
And actually, I will say, I do actually think they have improved the driving mechanics over the previous one. Because I feel like, and I went with basically default driving physics because I've realized that trying to make things more realistic in this game is just a way to frustrate yourself and not really enjoy the game the way I think it's meant to be enjoyed.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good call. I wonder. I know I bumped up a few settings. Maybe I'll mess with them again.
Because I switched off like traction control, ABS, and things like that, but I left I think it's just called the steering setting in the default as opposed to the simulation, because I found that the simulation version just makes it kind of frustrating and not very fun. And like, the game is clearly at its heart an arcade racer.
Yes.
But because I think they wanted to try and get like conventional Forza Motorsport players to try it out also, they left in the like simulation settings. But it just does not fit I mean, the game. I don't know if you've done the Stunt Driver series of story missions, but there's one where you're supposed to launch like a Koenigsegg, like 2,000 meters, like across a river.
Yep. I have indeed. Yeah.
There's nothing even remotely realistic about that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really obvious it's not supposed to be a sim racer.
We got Moltron here. What's up? Welcome. Says that's actually why I really enjoy the Forzathon events. I've used cars I never would have touched normally. Interesting.
So, yeah, that's something that I think is important, especially when you have so many cars, because it's like it would be really, really, really easy for somebody to never ever try some things that they might end up really liking.
Oh yeah. Very, very easy. Try that again with the Trackhawk.
Yeah, I still enjoy doing like the barn find hunts and things.
Yep, those are fun. Shadowlight says adding restrictions did mix it up. I know in Forza Horizon 4 I use the same best cars all the time. But Joel, did you play anything other than Forza over break?
Let's see. So I've actually started playing through Halo again with a friend of mine online.
Nice. The Master Chief Collection?
Yeah.
Nice. That is an incredible. What a turnaround story. for that game. When that game came out, people hated it, and now it's like I think most people agree it's like amazing now. They really fixed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've been having a lot of fun. Like, I did kind of forget the first Halo was a really good game.
Yeah, I have I have some thoughts there. I don't think I agree with that. I don't think Halo. I never played Halo when I was younger, so I have zero nostalgia for it. The first time I played it was 2 years ago, and I hated it personally. I don't think it aged well at all. But I think the second and third ones are good. Yeah.
Well, okay, I will say Halo 2 and 3 are substantially better games
Definitely.
overall.
Definitely.
I still think the first one is actually pretty good, though. Now, I have one very big asterisk on that, and it is the entire library section of the first Halo is awful.
Is that the flood section?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. I think that's honestly, I think that's a big reason why I hated it so much.
It is a colossally bad level.
Oh man, brutal. So brutal.
It's now in co-op it's way better because you get through it way faster.
Oh, true. Yeah, I made the mistake of playing it in single player. Yeah, that's true.
And that's how I experienced it the first time. And I experienced it the first time. Let's see. I think the first time that I actually played through the Halo campaign was basically after I graduated college.
Okay.
Because I picked up a used 360 and I bought the Halo like anniversary remastered.
Nice, yeah.
Edition. And what's funny about the library, and just in case for whatever reason you haven't played Halo or you've just kind of forgotten the details, the library is when you encounter the Flood, which is this big zombie plague infection thing, and you're fighting off all their zombified dudes. And the library is just this never-ending stretch of like concrete hallways.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ugly, it's repetitive, and you are just and there are like specifically spots where you have to stop and wait and defend yourself while the next door opens. It takes you into another identical hallway where you have to go, and there are so many enemies.
It's crazy, yeah. It is really
end.
Crazy.
And it's the same enemies, and it doesn't change. And it's this terrible limbo. And it's so bizarre because the first few levels of Halo, and then like the ones that follow it, are really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have fond memories of some levels, but that one, and I will say this, I think I was playing it maybe like wrong. Well, maybe I wasn't playing it wrong, because by the time I was finished that game, the first Halo, I changed my playstyle. When I started it, I was playing how I play most first-person shooters, where I clear the room before I move on. Like, I don't move on until every enemy is dead. By the end of that game, I was just trying to get to the end. I was trying to speedrun levels. And I was having much more fun when I was doing it that way, because I was like, oh, I don't have to actually kill all these thousands of zombie aliens. I can just run. And I enjoy that much more. And if I were to ever play that game again, that's how I would play it. And I'm sure I would enjoy it more. But I just made the mistake of, as a single human person, trying to kill every single Flood.
Yeah.
And it was tough.
And the thing is like, boy, I'm not positive, but I can swear that there are parts of the library where it is actually never-ending enemies, and you are supposed to keep moving.
Yeah, and I think that's what made me change. Yeah, I think I noticed that as well, and I also remember feeling not 100% sure, but I was sure enough to where I was like, I'm just gonna not kill these guys. Like, I'm just gonna keep going and see what happens. And it worked out. Also, hello, Turismo. What's up? And John Snyder, Barfclap. What is up?
Yeah, well, and the thing is like that's not something that you have to worry about in like the earlier levels or the levels after the library. And also like in the book-ending levels, you just get a lot more variety of terrain that gives you different strategies. You get different vehicles that you can use. You have more variety of enemies that you're fighting. And like there are levels that are very like clearly set up for you to be able to snipe. That kind of changes things up a little bit, but that whole library section that's like square in the middle of the game, it's not, I would say it makes up maybe 10 to 20% of the whole game. So it's not even necessarily that huge of a section, but it's just so monotonous and samey and boring and ugly.
Yeah.
That it's
It
a
sticks.
real sore spot.
Yes. I do wonder. So I played that when I had basically no Halo experience. This was a couple years ago, and then in the past couple of months, I've become certifiably addicted to Halo Infinite, and
Oh yeah.
and pretty decent at it. So I do wonder if that would change how, like, if I could just burn through those levels now. Because back in the day, I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really. It's so different to Call of Duty, and that was the main one I had always played. One being first-person shooter. But
I think you may get a little bit of a shock because
it's probably way different than Infinite.
Yeah. It's not ow.
Are you laughing at Turismo telling John his stomach must be a glass factory?
Well, that was funny, but no, I just laughed at. I've never seen the message. Hey, you've lost a lot of races in a row. Would you like to lower?
Oh yeah, yeah. I would. I'm sick of losing races. You go ahead and lower it for me, Forza.
So, what was I saying? Oh, well, so there have been a lot of gameplay refinements over Halo iterations that. If you went from Infinite to the first one,
yeah, it's probably
shocking.
I think
it might feel kind of rough.
Yeah.
Because you can't sprint.
You can't sprint in Infinite either. Fun fact.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Actually.
Yeah, there's no sprinting in Halo. There are like power up. There's like a thrust power up that gives you like just a brief speed forward, and then there's the big one and the best one in my opinion is the grapple shot, which gives you a little extra speed. But yeah, no sprinting.
Okay. Well, maybe it wouldn't be so big of a throw off. I mean, there's substantially fewer weapons to pick from.
Yep.
Although it does have the best version of the Magnum pistol of any Halo game.
Of which pistol?
The Magnum. Just the basic
yeah,
pistol.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that one in Infinite as well. Great gun.
Can you zoom with it in Infinite?
I mean, you can definitely look down sights, but I don't know. I guess it depends on what you mean by zoom. I'm not sure. Probably not.
Because in the first Halo, you had 2x zoom.
Oh, yeah, definitely not that.
With the Magnum pistol. It made it way overpowered. Because you could kind of snipe with it.
Yeah.
It obviously didn't have the stopping power of the actual sniper rifle, but it was...
Yeah.
You could be impressively precise with it.
Yeah, definitely. Way more precise than with an AR, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the AR has always been garbage.
Yeah, it's not. It's
just kind of scat. It just kind of throws bullets in the general direction of wherever you're pointing it.
Yeah, here's a pro tip for anybody who wants to play Halo Infinite. Unless you are like a super beginner. If you are a super beginner, then use the AR. It's great. But if you're not, never use the AR. Immediately switch to the pistol, and your KD will thank you for it. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, like Halo 2 would probably be easier to go back to because it brought so many big changes and like weapons additions and stuff, because that was the one that introduced dual wielding.
Oh yeah, I remember what a huge deal that was.
And like I played loads of Halo 2 multiplayer with friends in college, and it was so much fun.
Yeah. Did Halo 2 also introduce the energy sword, or was that in Halo 1?
So I know that elites carried the swords in the first Halo. I don't know if you were ever able to actually use it though.
Oh,
I want to say that
interesting.
Halo 2 was when you could actually pick it up and use it.
That rings a vague bell. And John, yes, this is the game with Mr. Chef. Mr. Chef. Oh man.
And actually, Halo 2 was a pretty major graphical improvement over the first one. Like, if you look at the models of Master Chief between Halo 1 and Halo 2, it's like, how are these on the same system?
Wow, that's great. I played both of them in the like the remastered graphics. I know in the Master Chief collection in the Mr. Chef collection, you can switch back and forth to like original graphics and new graphics, but I played them both totally on the new graphics.
I still can't get my head around the fact that you can toggle between those graphics with the press of a button.
Yeah, that's insane. That's so cool.
On the fly.
So cool.
It blows my mind every time.
Yeah.
Now, it's like, how is this possible?
Yeah, that is an amazing feature that I wish every remaster had.
Yeah. Yeah, like, wouldn't that have been so cool in, like, the Spyro and...
I was just gonna say that, yes! Oh, it would have been so cool.
Which, honestly, I'm not overly upset that they didn't include it, because I didn't play the Crash collection, because I've never really been that big a fan of the Crash Bandicoot games.
Yeah, same, yeah, same.
But I played Spyro, and it would have been neat to be able to toggle back and forth, but, like, they did such a good job with it that I wasn't upset.
Yeah, that game is, maybe my favorite remaster I've ever played. I mean, it was done as well as I don't know what they could have done better. I really don't. It was just so good. They did such a good job.
Turn around.
Who's before GT said, yep, that's the one. Fun fact, Mr. Chef is actually a Swedish chef. That's why he never takes off the helmet. He's got the two guns. Yeah, now, it's actually funny. So I am glad that they did have the graphics option in the Master Chief collection, because I think I actually prefer the old graphics on the first Halo game.
Interesting.
And, don't get me wrong, they are objectively not as good.
Sure.
Subjectively, I prefer the art style of the old graphics. Because I've noticed that in, like, Covenant locations, or, like, in, like, Halo, like, installations, I've noticed that, like, with the upgraded graphics, I think they added too much to the textures, that they kind of look a little busy, and kind of like, well, why are all of these, like, extra creases and gaps and patterns and things added that I think are kind of, like, unnecessary and a little bit distracting?
Yeah, I remember feeling similarly. I think they've gotten it. I don't think that problem continues on to Infinite, thankfully. But yeah, I remember feeling that way. It did feel just a little busy and a little just samey, kinda. But
and I think the lighting is actually too bright. Because because one of the things that I think was so distinct about like the Halo games was like you would enter these enormous rooms that were like kind of dark and foreboding, and like there were lights, but like it was so enormous that like, well, you can't illuminate the whole thing. It's just so huge
Yeah.
and so.
It's like,
and,
what's hiding in the corner over there?
And like, why would you illuminate everything? Because it's like, well, it's kind of just a giant warehouse, and then like the upgraded graphics, like you can see everything pretty darn clearly.
Yeah.
And it loses kind of that like, what is this weird, mysterious alien place?
Yeah, interesting.
I think it looks a little bit more like generic sci-fi location as opposed to like this strange, mysterious place.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
Boy, though, one thing that has not aged a bit and is still amazing is the soundtrack of the first Halo. It's still so good.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Yeah, like I said, I've been beyond addicted to Halo Infinite. Actually, the last couple of weeks I fell off. I haven't been playing a ton of video games at all, really, the last couple of weeks. But, the last week and a half, I should say, to 2 weeks. But prior to that, yeah, I had, so I beat the Halo Infinite campaign, and then I've just been grinding the multiplayer. And it's been ridiculously fun. And I think the Infinite campaign was good. It had great moments, but I think in general it was good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think where it failed for me was it was too... They took a big swing, I guess you could say, in making a big section of the game open world. But unfortunately, that section was so good, it made the sections of the game that weren't open world feel way worse by comparison. Because it's like, you have the intro 2 or 3 missions where it's very classic Halo, and then it kind of lets you go crazy in this open world, and the open world's really good, and the grapple shot is maybe my favorite way to travel around an open world in an open world game in recent memory. So that's all great, but then the last like 3 hours of the game is just like one after the other after the other after the other after the other classic Halo missions again, and you never see the open world again. It's like, why did you do this? Why did you set the game up in this way? It's like, it's having so much fun. But I will say, in my case, the way I play a lot of open world games is when it lets me start doing the side quests, I do every single one before I do another main quest, and that's what I did for.
So it takes you a while to get through like Skyrim. I take it.
Yeah, so I've never played Skyrim, but yes, exactly.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I could have sworn we've talked about this before.
And it is kind of sounding a little familiar.
Yeah, but yeah, so and in Halo's case, I did that same thing again. So it wasn't the biggest deal. Like, once I got into the main missions, like, there wasn't anything left for me to even do in the open world, but that did kind of annoy me. Or, like, make some things, like, open up after those missions or something. I don't know, but...
I wonder if they were kind of testing the waters a little bit, like, we don't want to fully commit on this, because we don't want to, like, alienate people that like the old style.
Yeah. But the thing...
I see what you mean, though. Like, well, and especially because they were advertising the openness so much.
Totally. It's just a weird pace. Like the pacing's weird. And I will say, for like fans of the old style, even in the open world, it's like once you get into a level, it's a classic Halo level, no doubt. Like, I think they really walked the line really well for the most part. I was just kind of bummed that like the entire last chunk of the game was like all. It felt super restricted. When you're running around outside and using the grapple shot, you feel very like free and fast. And then when you're back into those classic like smaller hallway style, building style Halo levels, it's like this isn't as fun as I was having out in the the bigger, faster world. But
yeah, maybe because I think for the most part, Halo Infinite is being really well received. So
yeah.
maybe they'll do a sequel and they'll be able to kind of fine tune some of that open versus linear level balancing.
Yeah, so I wonder. So they've claimed that they want this to be the Halo game for the next 10 years. This is going to be like the only one. That's why it's called Infinite, because this is going to be the Halo game. They want to support it for the next decade. So that being the case, I wonder if they'll just do like weird, just like DLC? Or, I mean, if people get really lucky, maybe if you already own the campaign, they'll just keep adding like free story updates. But I'll be very interested to see how they do that.
Yeah, kind of like how like the Master Chief Collection, like you buy the collection, but then you still have to like download each individual game.
Yep, totally.
And it still kind of like runs on the same engine, but it's just different campaigns.
Yeah, which I think works fine. I don't think anybody. I think more games should adopt that. Not every game needs to be. Every game looks great nowadays for the most part. It's like you don't have to keep pushing the boundaries. Just make the stories good. Make them fun.
Yeah.
I'll call the paint
But-
shop, tell them to get out the Rosa Corsa.
But yeah, other than Halo Infinite though, I recently started. Oh, also I saw John say he platinumed Skyrim, which is insane.
I don't understand how anybody has the time to do that kind of stuff.
And I agree with Turismo. Surviving 2020 and 2021 counts in the cool things category. I agree. But I recently started, and I've attempted starting this game many times in the past, many times, and I'm now currently further than I've ever been. I think I'm gonna see it through. I've been playing the original Baldur's Gate, and I've shockingly been having fun with it. So far at least. We'll see if that continues. I'm maybe like 5 or 6 hours in. But again, I mean, previously I would get 2 hours in max, and I'd be like, I just fall off of it because it's a very old, very obtuse game. But it's one of those games, despite the fact that I never got more than 2 hours into it, I have an insane amount of nostalgia for whatever reason. I don't understand why, but I don't know, and I've just been I've been playing it, and it's been really interesting and fun. It's very relaxing. I've been playing it on PC, and you can play this game just with a mouse, like and a mouse only, which is very strange to me, but I've been liking it.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, hello. I'm just gonna call you Kay because I'm unsure how to pronounce the rest of that name. But hello. And then John says I'm wearing a wig. I am not. I'm wearing a knit cap because my house is actually freezing. It's gotten slightly better throughout the day though, thankfully. But yeah, I've been bundled up all day just trying to survive over here.
Let's see.
Actually, this is a fun inside Autoblog fact here. The knit cap I am wearing was a gift from Autoblog senior producer Chris McGraw. This cap was knitted in Iceland from Icelandic sheep wool, and he brought it back from Iceland. That was super nice of him, and it is so ridiculously warm.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
So, okay, this is slightly random. You know, like in the past, I've talked on this game, on this stream, about my love for the Midnight Club series.
Yeah, yeah.
And how I desperately wish that Rockstar Take-Two would make a new one. So I saw on Kotaku last night.
I know exactly what you're about to say. Yep.
Yep. There's a headline. That says,
Yes.
Rockstar suddenly remembers that they made Midnight Club. Because apparently the title showed up on a business slide.
Yeah.
Because
Take-Two
part
bought
of, like, their
Zynga.
presentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they kind of brought it up because it's like, oh, well, this could maybe be the possibility for a new mobile game. I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
I believe that someone could make a good mobile racer. I think that is a genre that has been. I think that genre makes more sense than many others on mobile, and I don't think. I certainly have not seen it done in a way that I'm happy with yet. But I believe it's possible, and I believe that Take-Two and Zynga, if this is a real collaboration, and if it's not just give us your property and get out of here, that kind of a thing, which it very well might be, as these acquisitions often are. But if it's a real collaboration and they really want to try to work on something cool, I'd be interested. I'd be interested in seeing it. I believe they could do a good job, or at least I believe someone could do a good job. And it's crazy to me that there's not a better racing game on mobile yet.
Yeah, I totally feel like somebody gave me a monkey's paw without me knowing it.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, no, that's fair.
I wish there'd be a new Midnight Club. Good
That's
news,
fair.
Midnight Club for mobile. No.
Yeah, I totally get that. That would be like, for me, it's like if they announced Super Mario Sunshine 2 but for mobile. I would cry. I would cry. I would actually cry.
And I agree. I think it would be possible to make a good one. I don't know that the business model for mobile games would permit that, though.
Right, well, certainly not for Zynga and Take-Two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually is fair. I mean, those companies are the OG of scamming their players, basically. OGs.
I mean,
not all the Take-Two brands. I'll be fair. I'm thinking specifically of Rockstar.
Not as bad as EA or Activision, but
sure. Well, I don't know, man. Zynga's pretty. Zynga's pretty wild.
Zynga, yes, but
and Rockstar too. Does Take-Two own Rockstar or no? Right, they do, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rockstar's pretty wild too. But I guess people get actual value out of the absurd amounts of money they spend. So maybe, but
except for the GTA 3 remastered collection.
yeah, true. Oh, that made me. So the thing that makes me the most sad about that debacle is, oh no, I'm restarting. There's no chance. Is that it makes me so much more worried when they initially released that they were making a VR version of Vice City. Like, it was like the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. But now I'm like, oh no, are they just gonna put out like the crappiest version of this possible? Probably.
It's just the remastered version, but you get to play in first person.
Oh my god, that would be terrible. Oh, that'd be so terrible. And that's probably exactly what it's gonna be. Unfortunately.
Well, I guess I don't know. Maybe I should be glad that, like, at least I don't have to worry about like a remastered version of Midnight Club 3 or Midnight Club Los Angeles getting botched, because that would require the company to spend money on getting licenses again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I feel like, personally, that right now, the racing game landscape consists of the two top dogs, Forza and Gran Turismo, and then everybody else. And there's like tiers for everybody else, but I'd say Forza and GT are like way above the rest. And I feel like in terms of not necessarily the game quality, but just in terms of like popularity and accessibility, and the fact that like they're just the games, like they're the racing games that everybody knows. And I feel like there's a real opportunity for like a third one to really come back. Like there hasn't been, like, Need for Speed, I guess maybe you could argue, but again, for me, I didn't really love the last couple Need for Speed games. But
Well,
I wouldn't be my point is I wouldn't be shocked if a big company with huge pockets was just like, you know what, let's just throw $1 billion at a racing game and see if we can take on the big dogs.
yeah. Well, and I totally agree. And well, and as Turismo 4 GT was mentioning, like he'd like to see Sony have a new homegrown racer.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, why not?
So I never played Drive Club, which he brings up, but it was developed by Evolution Studios, which was a favorite of mine for the MotorStorm games. And then after Drive Club kind of floundered, Evolution got shut down. But then basically everybody from that company got hired by Codemasters. And then they released Onrush, which is possibly my all-time favorite arcade racer.
Yeah, yeah, I know you really love that one, and I do. It's a really great game, a really fun game.
Yeah, I sunk so much time into that because it was just so much fun.
Yeah. It's like very unique and interesting concept.
Yeah, and just the driving was just really fun.
Yeah.
Like it was easy to pick up and play, but there was as you got better at it, there was a lot to like easy to learn,
difficult to master.
but with a lot of yeah. And I don't even know that I would say difficult to master, but just like there's enough room to get better at it that it was like really satisfying.
Yeah.
Although Onrush didn't sell amazing, and I think what ended up happening was I think a lot of the people that were on Onrush got moved to work on Dirt 5.
Oh, that's
there are
unfortunate for all parties involved, in my opinion.
Because Dirt 5 has there's a lot about it that feels kind of MotorStorm inspired.
Okay.
Like the career progression and the kind of arcadey physics and the very kind of like detailed festival atmosphere tracks that you race at.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do. Because the thing is like there are a lot of racing series that were really highly regarded that have just kind of vanished. Midnight Club, obviously. Burnout hasn't had a game since Paradise, which just boggles my mind.
Yeah, that seems insane.
Let's see, what are some other?
I mean, I know Need for Speed is still around, but Need for Speed Underground specifically is like, to me, that's just so obviously the peak. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like, and I feel like they probably knew that too, because there's a sequel. Like, if a subtitle gets a sequel, it must be good. So like the fact that there was a Need for Speed Underground 2 specifically instead of just the next Need for Speed game, I feel like that says a lot. And I feel like if they were ever to bring back Underground specifically, that would make me so happy. I think Underground 2 is it's gotta be my favorite racing game from the past. I just have so many fond memories of that one.
And I think Need for Speed has gotten close to that. Their reboot game in 2015 Yeah, in 2015, Need for Speed 2015.
Yeah, the one just called Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one I think was about as close as you'll ever get to kind of an underground revival. Of course, the downside to that was that it was online only.
Oh, that's
Or
right.
well, it wasn't online only. But it required you to be online.
Right. Yeah, that's
Um,
insane. That's so insane.
And then Need for Speed Payback got rid of that, but then it introduced a very kind of stupid loot crate style method of getting car upgrades. And then that went away, and then Need for Speed Heat kind of fixed that, but then it did some weird things with the driving physics, and also made the police chases a little bit too prevalent, and also way too aggro. Like, I never was able to figure out how to survive a police chase in that game.
You're talking about
2
Heat?
stars. Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. Also, my as you know, my biggest complaint about that game was the drifting, which I found nonsensical.
The
Could
driving
not wrap my
mechanics
head
were
around it.
strange. It's one of those things where, like, Need for Speed keeps coming close to being like a really amazing game again,
Yeah.
but just does like these little things that they change every time. That's like, you got better, but then you also broke something.
Yeah, it's like 1 step forward, 1.5 steps back. Also, I just have to reference. First of all, John said he's gonna make an even better game called John Rush, which I enjoy. And the concept is gonna be John and Rush Limbaugh, for whatever reason, racing to Taco Bell, which I also really enjoy.
I just can't even get my head around that.
Yes. Also, Joel, I have to run for like 1 minute. I have to pee so bad. I'm gonna throw up the BRB, and I will be right back.
Okay.
Oh, I've returned. When I stood up, I accidentally bopped my dog's on her chin. I felt so bad. It was so loud. I wonder if you could see it in the camera. You couldn't hear it because I muted my mic, but I feel so bad. Uh-oh. What is happening to my game here? Why does it keep What? It's like auto-pausing.
Hmm.
Oh. Here we go. I'm dumb. The right screen was not, or the wrong screen was selected. It's a much better way to say that. So how do you feel about the Book of Boba Fett, Joel?
Oh, so we've talked a little bit about this. But,
Yeah.
I've been really enjoying it.
Nice. Nice.
And like I mentioned, I do think it's kind of funny that like, should we give a spoiler warning?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's only 2 episodes in, but yeah, spoiler warning if you want to watch Book of Boba Fett and you have not yet. But it.
Because I guess nothing super consequential has really happened yet.
Yeah. I mean,
Gosh,
spoiler alert: Boba Fett doesn't die in the Sarlacc pit. Like, whoa! Who would have thought?
You know, I guess this is one of those other things where it's like, it's kind of nice having a Star Wars show that's not like super high stakes, and it's not like, I mean, you know, fun stuff happened, but it's not like if you get it spoiled, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, at least so far. I'll be interested to see if they try to like bigging it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Which a little bit I think would be all right, but I don't want them to go quite to the extent of like Mandalorian or the movies or things like that.
Yeah, I don't want
like,
Boba Fett affecting the outcome of the galaxy.
Exactly. Yeah, because we've got plenty of that.
Yes.
We can afford to have smaller Star Wars stories.
Yes, agreed.
I do think it's funny that like, I mean, Star Wars has always been basically a space samurai western.
Yep.
And like they're just leaning way hard into it.
Yeah. Big time.
I mean, the second episode was literally a train robbery episode. It was.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I kind of liked it, but I also kind of felt like it was maybe not quite spacey enough. The design of the actual like cabin of the train, where the engineer was.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I like that it's got all this stuff going on like an actual train, but like, I almost thought it was maybe verging a little bit too much on like, well, this just looks like an old train.
So there is a trailer and screen grabs from the trailer that show 2 characters, and I don't know who these characters are. I don't know if anyone does beyond speculation. But what I know is they're both riding speeders that literally look like Harley Davidsons, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I don't like that at all. But maybe that's the vibe they're going for. Maybe they're trying to like make space a little more like, I don't know, America. I don't know why you would ever do that, but.
Well, I mean, it's very clear, like, Tatooine is basically the Old West.
Yes.
But as a planet in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And, like, Star Wars has stuff that's kind of goofy like that. Like, it always has.
Yeah, totally. I just think this screen grab, like, I thought it was fake when I first saw this screen grab. I was like, there's no way they would ever put this in Star Wars, and lo and behold, they did. And, I'll be very interested to see. It somehow like slipped by a lot of people. It's like the briefest shot in the trailer, and I'll be very interested to see the general consensus whenever these characters and their Harley Davidsons show up in Star Wars universe, because
Mhm.
I was not a big fan of that one. But we'll see. Maybe it'll make sense. It probably won't, but maybe it will. But regardless, that's not enough to... I mean, that's one tiny element.
Mhm. Yeah, and otherwise, like, it's been a lot of fun, and it looks gorgeous. Like, it's a really good-looking show.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I told you I was very underwhelmed to the point of like frightened for the rest of the series by the first episode. But then the second, I just felt like it was so slow. And but then the second episode really turned it around. I thought I loved the second episode.
Mhm.
So I'm super excited for the rest now. But yeah, I've never been a big Boba Fett fan, or really a Boba Fett fan in any sense of the word, because I felt like it's the reason why I'm not a big, same reason why I'm not a big Batman fan, is because there's never a reason for their success, ever. It's like, why does Batman ever win any battle? There's never, the reason is because he's Batman. Like, there's no logical reason ever. And I feel like it's the same for Boba Fett. It's like, why is Boba Fett this random this random bounty hunter? Why is he so mythical? It's like there's no reason at all ever. I've not been convinced yet as to... Whoa! Whoa, that was a tough look. Yeah, I've not seen or read anything to convince me that Boba Fett deserves even a quarter of the praise he gets from the fandom.
Well, the thing is that even just in the last 10 years, there was more reason to think Boba Fett was cool than there was when he was first introduced.
Sure, yeah,
because
definitely.
when he was first introduced, he was basically just a background character, and he got completely wasted by
yeah,
Luke
right.
Han, and Han was blind.
Yeah, right.
Like,
and it's supposedly like one of the greatest bounty hunters the galaxy's ever seen.
But for whatever... Well, and actually, I was thinking about it, and I kind of feel like over time, the various people that have been running the Star Wars property have, like, actually made Boba Fett cooler and more interesting, and made Han Solo worse and less interesting as time has gone on. Like, they've almost flip-flopped. Because, like, the Solo movie, which, like, I had fun with it, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a particularly amazing film.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's good, not great.
Yeah. I kind of feel like it ended up making Han Solo seem like he was just kind of bad at stuff. And,
yeah.
Like, basically just kind of lucked into everything.
For that movie specifically, I would say it is like his origin, so it makes sense why he would still be bad at stuff. And also, Han Solo has always been like, his thing is he's lucky. Like, I feel like, at least.
Yeah, but he was also like, I mean, because like in the first movie, like it shows off that like he's a bit rough and cold-blooded and forward-thinking, because he takes out Greedo very smoothly, and as everybody says, Han shot first.
Yes, true.
And I kind of feel like they've actually made like Han less capable over time, and they've made Boba Fett more capable.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, but I do think that that is specific to young Han, and I do think it makes sense that young Han would have been an absolute disaster, and through sheer luck, that is the only reason why he's made it to the age that he's made it, and now he has all these lessons because he's been in so many tight spots because he was such just a dummy, and that's why maybe that's also why Chewbacca feels like he has to, like that's the life debt is less about the fact that he saved Chewie and more about the fact that Han would die every day if Chewie didn't have his back.
It might not be like one clear instance of saving his life, but
Yeah,
he's paying off the life debt in installments.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But I think I really like Han as a character specifically because of the now non-canon expanded universe novels. I think they do Han's story, particularly in the Thrawn trilogy and in the Jedi Academia trilogy, is like amazing. It's definitely the best Han Solo has ever been. And so that still kind of sticks with me, even though none of that stuff counts anymore. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. And also, my least favorite part of the Han Solo movie, by far, is the fact that they made his name not even Han Solo. I hated that. I hated that so much. What's your name? Han. What's your last name? Durr. Like, I'm alone, so I guess it's Solo. Like, dude, shut up. That's so dumb. I hated that so much.
I think maybe one of the mistakes that a lot of kind of prequel stuff did was trying to explain everything.
Yes, it's so unnecessary.
It's like, sometimes things just are.
Yeah, the character made it this far without any explanation. Like, nobody was asking where his last name came from. Not a single person in the world.
Yeah.
Like, and yet they felt the need to answer this question that no one was asking.
Sometimes someone just has a cool name.
Yeah,
That's
right.
all right.
Right. It's just their name.
I don't know if you've heard that. I think somebody is asking for food. For viewers that don't know, I have a dog.
Imagine if it wasn't a dog. Like, it was actually my pet ferret.
Ferrets are cool.
They are really cool. I wish they smelled a little better. I would totally have a ferret.
I've heard you can actually litter train them.
I think I think you can, but I think it's they
Oh yeah, they excrete smelly oils.
Yeah, it's like a musk, yeah. Similar to skunks. Not nearly as bad as a skunk, obviously, but just similar biological process, I believe.
Yeah, they're all part of, I think they're, I don't know if it's family group or phylum or what the technical term is, but they're part of the animal group Mustelid.
Oh, wow, that's a crazy name.
Mustelidae.
Wow.
Horizon Rush. Sounds good, no?
Which I think was probably, I mean, the name sounds like it has something to do with, like, Musk.
Yeah, yeah, you would think so.
Said something about stopping by a party?
Language is so weird. It's so weird. It's like hard to even wrap my mind around weird. Like back when there was a time before English existed, and then there was a time after English existed, but there's no time in which English was invented. Like,
yeah,
that's so strange to me. Yeah.
And it's this whole mishmash of
just like everything.
Old English and like French and German and Latin.
Yeah, some Latin. It's so weird.
Let's see. How did we get? We're talking about Star Wars stuff.
We were talking about Boba Fett.
Oh, and prequels, and actually, I think that's something that, like, I don't know, Hollywood was just kind of on this whole thing about prequels and like, let's explain everything.
Yeah.
And I think the same mistakes were applied to a lot of things.
Yeah, I think Hollywood is decent at a lot of things, but it's absolutely the best at learning the wrong lessons from successful movies. And I feel like one of that's classic. It's just like probably one prequel came out that did well, and maybe it was the original Star Wars prequels, and everybody was like, oh, people must love prequels and only prequels, and that's why people bought these tickets.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, and like, hey, the Marvel universe is really successful. Well, we gotta do a DC universe, and we gotta do it as fast as possible.
yeah, we gotta catch up. Surely this won't backfire.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, so though that does remind me, I recently finally watched the reboot sequel thing that is the newer Suicide Squad movie.
Ah, yeah, the James Gunn Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I liked it too. Yeah.
I don't think it's it's got some spots that I kind of feel like maybe somebody should have stepped in and kind of
Reeled in
tightened it
James
up a
Gunn.
little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
like, hey, maybe dial this back just a little, because I don't know, there were just some scenes that I was like, what was that for?
Yeah.
Like in the ending fight scene where I don't remember what the shark guy's name is.
The Shark King Shark?
Yes, King Shark.
Yep.
Where he's in that room with the aquarium with the like the little jellyfish things that turn out to be kind of like horrible monsters.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, what was that all about? It
Yeah.
ended up being completely inconsequential. I was like, wait, you could have completely cut that out and it would have changed. It wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a great... That was such an amazing example of, like... Because Marvel is clearly very buttoned down with their movies. And although the Guardians of the Galaxy movies still very much... I mean, they're clearly James Gunn movies. Like, his... taste and his decisions are all over those movies. But then... Suicide Squad is like unfiltered James Gunn. That's James Gunn when he has no one pushing back on him.
Yeah. And some of the like, because it was kind of a weird movie in some ways.
Definitely.
But I was also kind of glad that it was. Somehow it kind of worked. So I'm kind of on the fence where it's like, on the one hand, I kind of feel like maybe somebody should have been like, kind of pushing back a little bit.
Yeah.
But only a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I still liked some kind of the weirdness.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it best case scenario for a fan like me, because I feel like I'm very happy. I know people have their complaints about Marvel movies being formulaic, whatever. I'm certainly not sick of them yet. So whatever formula they're doing, they should keep doing that. But also, I think it's great that we got to see a world where James Gunn makes essentially a Guardians of the Galaxy movie with no restrictions at all, but it also doesn't affect the Marvel universe. So I feel like that is like ideal, at least for me.
Well, and I did like that, like, the movie feels like its own unique thing.
Definitely.
And so it was kind of a nice change of pace from, well, because I am one of those people that's like, Marvel's movies are kind of getting a little samey.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but, like, well, that's one of the reasons that I've enjoyed, like, WandaVision and Thor, because they were really kind of a break from kind of the typical Marvel thing.
Yeah. So this one I think we shouldn't spoil or really talk about at all, but did you see the new Spider-Man movie yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Because I need to get caught up on all of the...
the new Spideys? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd be very surprised if you didn't find them very enjoyable.
Yeah, I've only heard good things about it, so I do need to get around to it.
Yeah, they're very solid. Very solid. I would say the first one is amazing. The second one's really good. Maybe a slight step down, but still really good. And then the newest one, as everyone can attest to, is obviously amazing. But
dude, I am so excited for a Spider-Verse sequel.
Yeah, across the Spider-Verse. And
Yeah.
the fact that it's going to be a two-parter is interesting.
That will be interesting. Like,
yeah.
Hey, Count Drifula.
But I mean, I'm confident because straight up, Into the Spider-Verse, my favorite like Marvel-related property movie. Period.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really
I
really
love
good.
that movie so much.
Yeah.
It's just got such fantastic characters and such a cool story and
mind-blowing art.
Yeah, visually it is spectacular.
Yeah. I will say I was a little underwhelmed by the art style of the trailer for the new one, but I'm hoping that was just I mean, it must be just like I assume they'll do many different art styles in that movie, so hopefully that's not going to be the whole movie. But I was a little like, ew, I don't know how I feel about this look. But
I mean, it was
we'll
mostly
see.
just like getting Miles and Gwen back together, and that was kind of about it.
Yeah, and them basically tumbling through the multiverse and also running into Miguel O'Hara, which is Spider-Man 2099, if anyone does not know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, gosh, I've forgotten a lot from the trailer already.
Yeah, and I'm very psyched. Miguel's one of my favorite Spider-Men. I love the Spider-Man 2099 comics, and just I love the design of that suit. I know some people hate it. I love it. It's just different and weird, and I'm a big fan. And Oscar Isaacs is going to be voicing him, who is great. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, and while we still have a little bit of time, so when thinking of Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Mans,
yes,
that Spider-Mans,
Spider-Mans, nah, Spider-Mans,
Spider-Mans,
yeah.
It reminded me, I am so upset about the upcoming Uncharted movie.
Interesting.
I just think it is so badly cast. Listen, Tom Holland is a good actor. I don't buy him as Nathan Drake. But far worse, like I could deal with it. I am so mad.
Marky Mark is Scully.
Is Sully.
Sully.
It is
Sully.
Such an awful casting choice.
Yeah.
He doesn't even come close to being capable of being like a Sully character. He can't even do a freaking mustache right.
Yeah, that is so I have no dog in this race at all. I've never played an Uncharted game. I couldn't care less.
I've played I've played all the Uncharted games and I adore them. I'm a huge Uncharted fan.
Yeah, there you go. But even I know that people were furious, rightly so, that Mark Wahlberg does not have a mustache. And I guarantee you, I will bet my life savings that there's going to be a big reveal that for like 1 minute at the end of that movie, he's going to have the mustache. It's like, for what reason? Oh, have they?
Yeah, in one of the trailers, there's a scene
no
where
way.
He comes into the bar and Tom Holland's Nathan Drake is like, "What's that on your face?" And it cuts to him with like a really crummy mustache. And
oh
it's like,
my god.
Dude.
That's super dumb, yeah.
It's like, here's the thing. We've seen, like, because it's also, like, it looks like it's all supposed to be sort of a prequel-y kind of movie, and it's, like, kind of younger Drake and younger Sully.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen younger Sully. We saw him in Uncharted 3 early on in the game, and he was still kind of this sort of mustachioed kind kind of gruff sort of gruff dad figure that's just it's a little bit of like he's been in this game for a while still, and he's a little bit of this kind of like, I'm getting too old for this kind of thing.
Yep.
But like still lovable, and like none of that describes Mark Wahlberg or any of the characters he's ever played.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Mark Wahlberg fan in general, but yeah, it does seem crazy. I will. So wait, hold on. Turismo's saying I would say I was right in the spirit of it, because he does show up briefly in that movie with the mustache, and we don't know if it is just for one scene at the end or not. It may be. My bet is it is.
Yeah, but still, it's just like, I mean, he needs kind of like sort of an older, gruffer kind of Tom Selleck-y kind of character.
Yeah.
Not a Mark Wahlberg.
Sorry, go ahead.
And even in the trailers, it doesn't seem like, because even though Sully is involved in kind of like shady, sort of black markety antiquities and things, he's still kind of that lovable kind of like gruff dad figure. And in the trailers, well, it seems like kind of a Mark Wahlberg's like slightly kind of jerk, annoying character. Like not really. It's just
Mark Wahlberg.
It really makes me upset.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
In one of the trailers, it also shows like lifting these like 19th century pirate ships out of a cave with helicopters, and like having this whole like fight sequence jumping to and from the pirate ships that are on the It's like, what? This isn't. Listen, Uncharted does some pretty unbelievable things, but like this is Fast and Furious type stunts. It's like it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It's like this is stupid.
I will say I cared 0% about this movie at all, and I still would say I probably only care about 10%. But what made me care that 10% is I saw that the reason this movie even exists is because Tom Holland pitched a young James Bond movie. And from that, they were like, well, we can't do young James Bond, but what if we do young Nathan Drake? And that alone kind of make sense to me. I was like, okay, I see what they're going for. I get it. Well, and as someone with no connection to, I mean, that's for me because I have no connection to the source material. If you did have connection to the source material, I totally understand how that would be ridiculous. And
I think that would be an okay choice, because in both Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 4, we see young Nathan Drake. Like actually younger even than in this movie.
Oh, wow.
Because it goes back to like his childhood and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're doing it really badly. And actually, I agree with Turismo. He mentioned something that like he saw better stunt sequences in the video games, and I totally agree. Ones that don't seem quite as like doofy, Fast and Furious. Which it's like there's a place for that. It's called Fast and Furious.
Right.
Or even like superhero movies. But Uncharted is still like sort of grounded in reality.
Is it? I mean, I know nothing.
Well, it's very much Indiana Jones type reality.
Okay. Which, yeah, and then Indiana Jones is just like American James Bond, so I guess that makes sense. Interesting.
Now, I will concede one thing though. It looks like Antonio Banderas plays the villain in the movie. That is really good.
Yeah, Antonio Banderas is great.
Yeah. And I think he would be a really great Uncharted villain. But I'm not gonna watch it just for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not when the main characters I feel are really poorly cast.
Yeah, I will. That seems like a great watch it when it comes to streaming kind of movie. I think I will enjoy it Seems to me like a Sonic 1 kind of movie. Seemed kind of interesting. Would never go see it in theaters. But then I watched it at home and I liked it. I think, from what I've seen of this movie, I think it's going to be more fun than you're giving it credit for. I don't know if Tom Holland... I think Tom Holland is too famous currently to be in that level of a dud at this point in his career. I feel like at the very least it'll be good.
Well, and again, like, I think Tom Holland could be alright. But he wouldn't be my first choice. I'm not entirely sure who
Yeah.
my first choice would be. But Mark Wahlberg is like the absolute last choice for me
Yeah.
for Victor Sullivan.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Wow, but it is 4:02. So that is gonna do it for the stream today. So thank you for watching, everyone. We'll see if I can even remember my end of stream spiel I usually do. Wow, it's been a little while. Thank you for joining, Joel. It was a great time as always. First stream of the new year. Yeah, thanks for joining everybody in chat, and thanks for the couple new follows today. Always very appreciated. John with the Emperor
Young
quotes.
fool. Only now, at the end, do you understand?
So good. But yeah, so we do this every week on Tuesdays from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We don't always stream Forza, but we always stream some kind of racing and or driving game. If you don't know, this is the official Autoblog.com live stream, so make sure to check out Autoblog.com. We got all kinds of automotive news and reviews on the site. We're also all over social media. We got Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, basically anywhere where you have social media, there's probably an Autoblog account, so check us out there as well. We have a podcast. It's called the Autoblog Podcast. You can listen to that wherever you listen to podcasts. We have a merch store. It is available at redbubble.com/people/autoblog, or you can search for Autoblog on redbubble.com, or you can go to the link in our Twitch bio, and we have all kinds of stuff on the merch store. We got t-shirts, we got hats, we got throw pillows, we got jigsaw puzzles, we have like framed posters, pictures, kind of things, coffee mugs. We got all kinds of stuff on the merch store.
With me, oh yeah. So
exactly. So check that out if you're interested. And then last but not least, it's a new year. I always like to mention, if you have the means, consider donating either some time or some money to a non-profit or charitable organization of your choice. Just one that you think does good things for the world. Just consider doing that this month and every month. Yeah, just really consider doing that. Let's make 2022 better than the last couple of absolutely terrible years. So
the good news is that the bar is low.
Exactly. There you go. If it's not better, we're gonna be in some serious trouble. My God, and we very well might be. But that is a discussion for another time. So thanks for watching, and we will see everybody next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you then. Adios.